That's what we need, because we need a prosperous America with the billionaires getting richer and richer and richer. If they have more money, we will soon see it trickle down to us. That's what we're all waiting for.
Okay. You have a pen? Yeah, Reagan philosophy didn't work.
Huh?
It was Reagan philosophy. President Reagan philosophy.
That's right.
Saint Reagan.
Yeah, they came
Saint
from him.
Reagan.
Yeah, they came from him, their face.
Yeah, trickle down, you know.
Yeah, it didn't work.
It didn't work. Yeah, but the people did.
Yeah, the rich one did.
Yes. And they worked hard. And did they ever complain?
Yes.
And that's good, right?
Wow.
Hey. No, we didn't have. We have not got time to get the time.
Your traffic control unit
Traffic control.
complained.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Claire, would you like to come forward?
Then in the 3 months that
That
followed
was,
that
that was
strike,
the only union that supported his election. And he broke their union after that president.
and they had 17 very close, interesting events in the months that followed. Just so you know. You must put your name on this thing, or else they will say, what is your name? And you'll say, I'm not knowing. And then
that's for the mini
thing.
I know this business.
Oh, you're in this business. I'm old in this business. In fact, people are telling me,
I might
if
be
you
the
weren't so
oldest.
schizophrenic, you wouldn't be talking like this. And
I might be the oldest.
schizophrenic.
Yeah, I don't
Crazy.
know, I'm in my 78th year.
Right, Claire, in the second half, or are you gonna go
No,
do
you
it
can go
yourself?
preserve.
Got it, okay.
Oh, or you do,
I'm sorry, you said that, I thought, I just gave up.
No. Talking to you somewhere else. Did you do that? Or was it here? What was wasn't it for?
Yeah, I didn't put your name on there at all.
No, it's okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I want to make
Yeah, I
sure.
heard you somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a nice talk. Are you from North?
There you go. Don't have, yes, if you don't have a number,
I feel like it's probably no deal, so.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh, she gave me
I
that.
remember you. From the neighborhood. Oh, no, just give me, just get, that's it. Yeah, you're in. Like Clint, as my mom used to say. All right, then. Oh. I have my announcement, I have my cheat sheets here. All right,
From your.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for that warm welcome. For the upcoming warm welcome, we are charmed and pleased to be here. Sacred Grounds, the longest running open mic that we know of in the known and unknown universe. Fine poetry and good food since 1972. I have always been the host, but it's been around that. I was here in 73 and 75 and I got run out of the place, but they forgot me, so it's all right, I'm back. Okay, just wanted to check things really quickly. I'd like to give a hand for Fiona and Teddy, our hosts. If you could do that, they have good food, but without them, you wouldn't be here listening to me, and you'd be thankful for that probably anyway. Let's see what else. Fiona and Teddy. Oh, this little thing right up there, if you see it, this is a webcasting camera, so you are being shot out to the world, as it were. So when you're here, you can look there and say, Mom, you should have been listening. That was a good poop. And cell phones, if you have them.
Where's the webcam?
Right there on the post above the ship.
Ah.
And it's focused in on this area. So I'm going to go like this and model like I do as a teacher for my students. Go like this. Yes. There we go. So that way no one gets interrupted. And see what else is there. The speakers are set up. Fabulous. Oh, the fabulous prizes for this evening. Alice Kohler, An Unknown Woman. I haven't read the book. And so they give me books all the time, and I give them away. This is An Actor Prepares. Oh, Konstantin Stanislavski. I guess people know the Stanislavski method, so this is how you get ready for that. The Tao of Poop. The Tao. And in case you're wondering who saved civilization, the Irish saved civilization. If you want to know how they did that, you should read this book by Thomas Cahill.
I read that book.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Long time ago.
And this is the Tao of Physics. So we have 2 Tao books tonight. So this might be Tao night, not Towel night, Tao night. So these are here. At the end of the evening, when you signed in, there's a number by your name. I shuffle these cards with numbers on them, and thus I figure out who gets a chance at these prizes. If one of these prizes do not strike you, you can say, I would like to be the mini feature next week. And that's how the mini features are founded, discovered, made, etc., and so forth. Now, Cassandra Dallett is our feature for the evening. She's going to give the Queen's Wave here. She is well known, renowned. If you saw those video links that I posted, you'll go, wow, she's going to be here. I'll say, yes, Cassandra Dallett is here tonight, this evening, for you. And she's our feature, so it's going to be very good. And see if there's anything else that I have to say before I sit down because I'm talking too much. No, there's nothing else I need to say. I'll be adjusting this as need be. And if you haven't signed in, the sign in is still here. Are you going to want me to put you?
Sure.
All right. So, let me sit down. Oh, this is a great new venue. It's calling all poets, hear ye, monthly poetry meeting at the La Promenade Cafe. Here is all the details. It's the first Saturday, correct? So you can pass these around here, take one, distribute as you see fit.
I got one, I got mine.
Oh, you got yours?
Yeah, I think you did somewhere.
Oh, okay.
You got one?
This lady over there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got one.
You got one?
Yeah,
Okay.
next time you got one.
Yeah, you got any number.
I'll be back there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Your point.
Everybody got one?
Yes, thank you.
All right, good. I just want to make sure I got that out there. That's where the elite meet to hear the beat. Isn't that right? Okay, so let me just get organized here. All right, no one signed in for spot number 1. Spot number 1. So we will proceed to spot number 2 on the open mic, which is Buford Button. Give him a nice little round. Bring him on up here. Warm up the mic. Put the hands together.
Hi. This is called Might Be and the Coffee Stereotype. Might Be, with the same first name and initials as my brother, said that poets like their coffee strong, which is probably true. He's tall, 6'4", with a ponytail, and he drove a talented poet teacher back to the East Bay after classes when I was working at New College of California, and he took my place on the maintenance shift for 2 or 3 hours while I was with Mr. Meltzer, resulting in a couple of years later a 1-year English teaching job for me at a long-time university in San Francisco. My students were all from Asia, Vietnam, Taiwan, Burma, Japan, the Ukraine. Mike helped enable all of this. I love when I run into him and his intense, funny personality in North Beach. And here's where the niceness ends. I'm sorry, I wrote this. This was there. This is called cautiousness. My ex-wife, with whom I spent 19 and a half years of my life, called me Mr. Cautious. I like observing to determine if I want to become involved with situations or people, a function of me as a poet, I think. I usually describe the situations on paper and put myself into them or decide better that they're not what I want in my life. When she would jump off into all kinds of experiences, sometimes I would also jump, usually reluctantly with her, or not at all. Not very many times, not at all, but you know, I was married. Some of the adventures were great, sometimes not so much. I have to admit, though, that they were mostly exciting like she was. She continues traveling to live in Israel and then to upstate New York with her latest spouse.
Let me just read, I try to read a few people so that you don't get surprised when I call your name. So the next few people we have are Owen, Ann Leonard, Karen Howe, Stephanie, Manning, and Diego. So give Owen a nice little round as he comes up here to kick us off.
Can everybody hear me? A short little poem here. I trieste in vain. The falsity and fabric of infinity has more moods and mores than Julie Newmar. The Trieste languor tumbled in noise. I border on happiness. Unhappiness is impossible. Something to say is a thing of the future. I drift through a not so distant past, through the false darkness. Quatrain. Abstract whims keep me alive as my letters dry and deny and thrive at Starbucks. People pass as I sigh for the day's indifference. Lines might come to me in my time of need. Coupled at Starbucks. Lazy eyes pass through the particle of dazes. The day is a long way from infinity. Couplet, this days of dazes, my mind has run out of metaphor. This the day of one hand clapping. Ahoy! Away to the Trieste trumpet, its gestures and jongleurs have flown with the leaves to heaven, like a flock of birds and flowers. Birds beseech balustrades, ballroom arrogance, dapper dans go forth, the falsity only a faux pas, and your pregnant past lightning forks my mind in half, clouds are not in the sky, stark naked rubber horses, my mind is jumping like a jumping horse, my fingers are like jumping beans on a table, I'm no good at all, descriptive, oblong malice, selfless knave, here I feel like everybody's child, 12 lines are stuck on a toadstool. And Anne said she liked this one. Score. Backfires, backslides, dilettante, audacity, cold bullion, hath master scrawny of Belgius, can canter olive, Princeton Harbor, kid sticks, can pick up the inspiration, stuck on a berry, it has never been so bad before, count sheep, daily Lester Maddox, Daily Double, you're the one for me. Already I can't make it. Hannah cackles, halt, asked Ronald for sour apples, can sing. Wallace Stevens for Rebecca. This is a staccato songfest. This loneliness is Christ. 14 lines save you as though you were money. New joy. Rumble, chic, babble, canvas, new joy, joint is jumping, can get over you, no time for relativity. Relativity went by on a cold day, everybody liked the rock of Gibraltar, the humble giant sings loudly, Loud to the lordly, the blues blow the saxophones, the joint is quiet from the joy I fawn over things that are beyond me. Louis Prima blowing that sax, I have no patience. Some people know me for quiet and impatient. The joy is around, but where does it go? After hours, the wind signals it is evening. Time to put one's mysteries against the sunset. Boredom, boredom. The unique are to the mysteries that are forever kept from us, the average. I must resign myself to my run-of-the-millness, a keeper-upper with the ordinary. It depresses me, all of which I do not know, as though I am uncomputerized.
Just one more.
All right. Whistle call. Call the bells to arms. They lust after today, and tomorrow they exist. These lines skitter across the page, hoping to belong to a poem in its entirety. I'm a clumsy dancer with words. I ask the muses to dance, and they are indifferent. They look at me like ugly sisters at a ball. Call the lions to rest, not roar. They are my last chance to dance with the indifferent muses. It is their boredom at my non-indifferent advances that I seek and find, in a calliope of quiet and tittering affluence and hotcher. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. And now we have, thank you so much. We have Ann, then Karen, then Stephanie, then Diego, then Dawn, then Greg, then myself. So Ann Leonard, come on up here and knock it out of the ballpark, please. Rookie baseball fan.
I have, I'm reading from chapter 2 of the San Francisco First Wave Punk, 1976 to 81. In the Fault Zone, the punk crunch on SF's socio-political position. And we're talking about how people got the word out that there was a show when one of the regular media would thought that punk was important enough to include in their calendars. So one thing that was done was the punk calendar by my roommate Ivy, but this is moving on from that. The punk calendar's anti-art graphics had been started by Ruby Ray and ceramic sculptor Mark McLeod, who met when he pulled the photog from a pile of fallen pogoers at New Youth's middle class show at Iguana Studios. When the two moved on to other projects, Ivy bribed roommate Kirk LeClaire and fellow artist Wayne Zepster with a working afternoon's quota of beer to put together the publication's kick-ass collages and mental meanderings. They went through a wild creative process at the kitchen table. The innocent calendar reader would fall into a strangely seditious warp, just trying to find out who was playing at the Savoy Tivoli. One of their cartoon pieces at the bottom of the May 1980 issue featured a row of 8 white rabbits being offered several small rectangles of paper by another white rabbit wearing a double-breasted suit, enticing them to go on just one more covert operation. What was Ivy dropping into Wayne and Kirk's beer? I don't know if y'all got that. It was about the CIA. So Bruce Pollock started hosting shows at the San Francisco Art Institute, and one was set for February 23rd, featuring the Avengers, Mutants, and Pink section. His friend Gomez put together some posters featuring hustler-style snatch and bondage photos and stapled them up all over North Beach, which shouldn't have bothered anyone because the neighborhood industry was Saks. It turned out Mayor Dianne Feinstein was offended and demanded the Art Institute show be canceled. We wondered about the logic of Feinstein's equation. What did a few raunchy photos have to do with a concert featuring fully clothed performers playing musical instruments? Someone called KRON TV about the incident, and one of the reporters showed up at the Mutants' First Street loft with lights and camera for an interview. A half dozen or so of us watched from the extra-long van seat that served as a sofa, while Bruce, emphatic that the posters were art, complained about encroachments on freedom of expression. He even invented a new word to describe the mayor's activities: censorizing. A week after the show was canceled, all the bands on the bill played a free legalized music show at the Temple Beautiful. A few days later, a new series of kinky posters appeared announcing the San Francisco Art Institute show had been rescheduled for the 3rd of March. One of the flyers featured an unclad woman with spread legs and a narrow black strip pasted across her genitals. The promoter vented his rage with the banner, "We would choose to live on a diet of roach and rot rather than rout to your fucking hypocrisy." Another black strip had been placed across the letters C and K in fucking. Apparently our side had a victory under its belt. We went around in Berkeley too. For a year and a half, management at quote-unquote progressive radio station KPFA had been making and breaking promises to expand the hours of Tim Johannen's Maximum Rock and Roll show and give it a better time slot. In April of '79, Tim was still stuck with only an hour to air punk music, buried on Sunday morning between 12 and 1 a.m., when no one was home to listen. Maximum Rock and Roll staffers weren't going to take it anymore and picketed KPFA 150 strong, presenting a petition with 1,000 signatures along with hundreds of letters. Signs at the demonstrations read, "KPFA eats its young, and Sid Vicious died for your sins." The hippies really hated punks, and there was like a real bad, energy between the two groups. So they saw punks as being fascist. They believed the media. The embarrassed public radio stations board finally acquiesced. Once he was able to expand the program's format, Tim called up and asked me to do a weekly 20-minute interview segment. I traveled to Berkeley on BART and was so anxious before each show, I had to down at least 2 Lowenbrows from the corner store before I could get up the nerve to go in the sound booth. I had to drink them on the street, though, because the station didn't allow alcohol on the premises. The week Flipper showed up for an interview, Tim warned them several times not to use any 4-letter words. Of course, the only words spoken were fucker, motherfucker, and they were used to punctuate the noise the band made pounding on countertops and kicking at the walls of the sound booth with their big black boots. The FCC could have yanked Tim's license, and he was really steamed that I hadn't put a stop to the anarchy, but I just couldn't get behind censorizing anyone. Am I done? Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Historical perspective. Historical time. There they are.
Okay.
They're staring right at me.
Yeah.
But I like it. Thank you so much. Karen Huff, then Stephanie Manning, Diego, Don, Eli, then Greg, and then me. Give Karen a nice round of applause.
Have to lower our standards here, or at least the mic.
Don't do this at home. She's a professional.
I wish this one was mine, but it isn't. Violets here and there in the ruins of my burnt house. That's from someone named Shokuni, who lived from 1713 to 1781.
Read it again.
Read it again.
Violets here and there in the ruins of my burned house.
Oh.
To be able to say that much in that short a space is just amazing. Rumors. They say that in the Bering Sea, the sky dances with ribbons of light. The stars are icicles you can taste. There are more kinds of fish than you could name in 40 years. So the pelican tucks his beak beneath his wing to sleep, like all his companions do. But he is not content, since the albatross spoke of these things. Petrus. It is a perfect skipping stone. Flat, ovoid, the color of a barnacle I once saw just behind a humpback whale's head, where its neck would be if whales had necks. I could make it dance across the waves, but it feels so good in the palm. Cool, worn to a perfect form that delights my senses by time's hand. No rough edges, mellowed in ways that I envy, but know I will never achieve. Chasing the albatross still, The entire teachings of Lao Tzu are written on this rock. I place it gently on a shelf. Try hard to listen. Solitude. And when I am alone, I sing off key, but with a diva's passion. When I am alone, I ramble along beach and dunes, down streets just to explore, into stores that do not interest me. When I am alone, I eat asparagus with my fingers, drink wine with cereal, forget to comb my hair. When I am alone, I write poems and sometimes stories that sometimes do not work. Send them off to caves where editors like minotaurs hold forth. When I am alone, I imagine sailing to Madagascar, or weaving a dress entirely from daisies and Spanish moss. I dream of building a three-masted schooner, starting with raw lumber, of dancing beneath the moon in some romantic port I have never seen, even in dreams. When I am alone, you drift across my mind like morning fog, causing involuntary smiles, soft waves of desire, and a longing that tastes like honey. Pacifica. Ravens and hang gliders tried to outdo each other, peeling off, diving and soaring on the thermals off the cliffs. At Pacifica, where a man I hadn't noticed said reverently, "I love them too. My name is Al." He extended his hand, and I put my name in it with reciprocal manners. Then excused myself to wander and dive into my own melancholy, remembering I had walked these cliffs before with a man I loved who did not love himself.
Thank you, Karen. And now Stephanie, then Diego, then Don, Greg, and myself. Give Stephanie an extra round of applause. She has been working with helping near this place along with Craig over there. So I appreciate everything they've done for me while I was not here.
I appreciate your return, Dan.
Thank you so much.
Immunity, the house of the rising sun, false confidence, destroyed. Cells move on a tiny plate under a lens. Cells on a plate. Guardi la stella che tremano, non amore, ma da morte. Good cells, evil cells, Catholic cells, bound for heaven due to repentance or virtue. Muslim cells awaiting glory or punishment, Buddhist cells awaiting 49 days till rebirth, or poet cells, which in this case get roasted and then the lucky ones relocated to the forest floor. Oh boy, why did we ever ask? Life to ruination, birth, growth, exaggeration, birth, wean, mingle, incubation of thought, demonstration, recapitulation, the triple crown. It's not mine, it belongs to someone else. And deep in the heart's core, the grace of escape, time to seek the mysteries deep in the woods, under the jewel-studded shroud of night. Since this Saturday is, I don't like to read my poems repeatedly at this reading, but I'm going to read my letter to California Chrome because I really wanted to win the Triple Crown this Saturday at Belmont, 3:30. Tune in. You are like me, little horse, happier moving than sitting down. But I am old and my color faded. You are young and eager to run fast, faster than any thoroughbred in 40 years. The whole world is watching your big white nose, while your owner fingers his money, medicates that ulcer, and pays the jockey, the trainer, and the men who handle the stable who are your real buddies. Oh dear horse, be good to those guys that they may be nice to you. And when it's all over, come back to your home in California, where you can live out your life in luxury, surrounded by people who love you. Nothing but clover and poetry for great horses like you. But then I wrote a response to my own poem called Nothing But Clover and Poetry. Where do poets go when they die? Do they linger in the atmosphere as people play back videos of their reciting their work? How do they like others reading their work? Do they worry about those they left behind? Once their picture is up on the wall here, do they leave? Do they split? Do they take off for adventures in another world? Does a little piece of them stay in the hearts of those who knew them and in their poetry? Does it make any difference at all to them that we miss them and wish they were here? I suspect they have long forgotten us, even as their body baked to ashes, and only the smoke remained. And all that's left is what we make from the useful ingredients that they left behind. But from that, we can make some pretty good stuff.
All right. Diego.
Yeah.
Diego De Leo.
Yeah, in person.
In person. For the first time in 478 years, he takes to the mic.
That's true.
Yeah. He's been waiting for a long time, actually.
Yeah.
Let me just do this like this.
I might be,
Pretty close.
yeah, I might be the oldest young poet in San Francisco. I started, I'm 80 years old, and that's how the rest of you are doing this.
Ah, you don't look 80. 79 if you're 80.